Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Futures Club podcast, where we come to chill and get our minds right. I am Judith Daniel, your host and owner of Juju Star Productions LLC, where we have an array of products designed to help and encourage and uplift and push you forward in life. If you want to know more, go ahead and click that link. But for now, sit back and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody, welcome back. So today's episode is going to be the last of the season, and I was wondering how to kind of bring everything to a close. And I was, debating on how long the season should be, what should be going on, those kind of things. And I came to the conclusion that we're going to do 20 episodes per season. I'm sorry for all the extra noise. Okay, I'm done. So this is going to be the 20th episode. And we're going to take a little deviation, a little turn into a more broader perspective. And when I say that, it's not going to be the normal, just keeping it into why we shouldn't give up our turns. But this morning, so I was having a dream, right? I can't really remember everything about it, but the thought rushed my mind, stating, how will we know, or what are the exact signs that the Lord is coming back? Like what did he talk about? Can we make that plain? How to get clarity on that? And then what are the actual things that, we need to look for now in our generation, in our right now, about how his return will be? What are the things that are going to be around it? And I found this great video. And I watched that great video, and it made everything break down and make it plain. Now, if you don't know, where you can find this information is going to be Matthew 24, verses 3 through 36. Okay? So I am only going to be paraphrasing. Okay? I'm going to put the link of that video in the description. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at it, by all means, study to show thyself approved. So, I don't know why I woke up like that. I don't know why that was the question on my mind. And I don't know why I needed to go ahead and study and do it right then and there. But I did. And then I followed my intuition, my desire to understand more, and kind of did it right then and there. Sometimes I'm a procrastinator where I'll take things and just, okay, I'll do it in a little while. But on this, and I'm trying to do better at doing what needs to be done right then and not putting it off. My dad said a great thing to me a long time ago. He said, well, don't ask someone to do something for you that you can do for yourself, right? So then I've always been independent. I've always been where, okay, I need this done, I'm going to do it. And procrastination started setting in because I started getting tired. My life has been a very long, very tumultuous journey. It hasn't been an easy ride by any means. And, that transformed into do it now, don't wait. You know something needs to get done. You know you're going to do it, or that you have to do it. Do it now and don't wait. So this morning I got up and I did it now and I didn't wait. So if you'll stay with me to the end, I'm going to give updates on what's going on, when the program is going to start, and then what you need to do in order to be a part of that if you would like to. Now, when we go into the program, the goal is to keep people from thinking that they have to give up their turn. I speak truth. I have resources from all over that I've gathered, and through the workbook that we go through, that is the situation. This is a unique happenstance of I need to close out my 20th episode. I don't know what would be worthy of them listening to it, and coming to the conclusion that I think this is worthy information that would do you more benefit than harm, right? And when I say harm, um, sometimes the simple guilt can be harm. You know what I mean? Because then your mind starts to wander, it starts to go all over the place, and who knows what happens next, right? So I wanted to, if anyone was asking, if anyone may have had the thought, if anyone had heard anything, but they weren't really sure, and the understanding wasn't really clear, it was a little bit vague. And as I told you before, I am not one of those who goes out and looks for opportunities to share the word. I am led by the Spirit. And when He says speak, I speak. So that's my way of ministry and doing things. But let's dive in, right? And this will be my ministry portion of the last podcast until next season. And again, like I said, all of the updates will be given at the end because I kind of want to get this out pretty quickly. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. So now this is dealing with, again, I stated Matthew 24 through 3 through 36. And it's dealing with and talking about what are the signs of the end times. You know what I mean? What are the signs? What will be going on? What are we looking for? I know for me, I grew up going to church, but my direct household wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't God-fearing, but it wasn't forceful, and it wasn't really even acknowledging of Him. And I kind of want to be careful when I say that, because I know that my dad is, a man of God, and his integrity, the way that he dealt with us, and him having 4 girls and 1 boy, and the values and systems that I can now see in retrospect that he wanted to instill in us and wanted to give. And there was, I want to say, a sort of freedom that was with that, because it was subtle. Yet, when I'm looking back, being an adult myself now, it's like I could see the morality in the tone that he used, in the way that he dealt with us, in, all those things. So that was there. And then just a not so same experience with my mom, you know? So there's that duality, right? But I always got, when we went to church, was the Lord is coming back. He's going to be here. Be ready. Prepare now. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You don't want to miss it. Make sure your oil lamps are full, right? And I'm like, okay. And growing up a little bit more in the church, and then seeing that, oh, we've been going through these things for quite a while now. Quite a while. And there's still nothing. What are we really looking for now? Okay. So there was always that confusion. As I got a little bit older, and this is going to come into play later that I didn't even know. I just learned something new today too. And I didn't grow weary of the church. It just wasn't a right fit anymore. And I decided that I wanted to really have a real relationship with the Lord. So that is the avenue that I took, right? And in taking that avenue, I've not only grown closer to Him, I can also figure out and understand what He's saying to me. I can feel when He's moving or He's doing something in the background that I really don't know what it is, but I could tell something's going on, right? And we have this relationship of communication and insight. When I was talking about the cheat codes before, that's a real thing for me in my life. being able to understand, kind of having a little bit of foresight in knowing what's coming or seeing what's coming, and really have no way to know how I knew those things, but it says that the Holy Spirit leads you in all truth. And that is true from a ticket that I got in Wichita, Kansas, because I didn't listen and I talked back. So those things are real to me. And I could sit up here and tell you till you're blue in the face that they're real, but unless you have the experience for yourself, as you've heard me say before, whatever, right? It could be whatever all day. So have the experience for yourself. Call those experiences in. Be like, okay, look, I'm open. I want to know what this is about. Show me some stuff. And I mean, really talk like that. Like, really talk normal. However, you might not talk as hard like that as me, but really just be yourself and ask the question as yourself. You don't have to go to him like, oh, thou most highest, I come to thee. Because we don't even talk like that. So off the back, don't be fake. Because then you're going to think the answer is fake. And if we give our real selves, we'll get the real answers that we can understand. But if you ask him in a way that is not really your interpretation of things, you're going to get an answer that's not really your interpretation of things. And it's going to be difficult to understand. So when you go to him yourself, by yourself, with yourself, as yourself. That might sound stupid until you try to do it. And then you're like, oh, that must have been what she was talking about. Yeah, go as yourself. So let's just dig right in if you want to know. And I want to also say that you are unique, right? You do have a mind of your own. And some things that you may have been shown, told, or taught might not have been always the right thing. And you can feel that when it's not right. Okay? So this is not to persuade you in anything. You let yourself do that. Let yourself persuade you into whichever way you deem is necessary to go. This is me giving information. You see where I'm going? This is me giving good information that you may take into consideration, but you have to be the biggest voice and say what you would like the outcome to be of this. It's not me. I would never pressure myself on you, right? And this is how we use those teachings of letting your voice be the biggest voice in reality. And if you don't know what your decision will be or how you feel about things, get more information and then decide. You don't have to decide when it's not clear. You don't have to be rushed into deciding, because that'll grow into anger if it's not really what you wanted. And that's in everything, you guys. All right, so when I was listening to this gentleman speak on his channel, on the video that I'm going to put in the link, or put the link in below, it starts out with stating that there are about 20 or so signs that kind of remain, right? I stopped my numbers at 12, but then there was a little bit more too. I'm sorry, 13. But then there was a little bit more. So I'm just really reading down this piece of paper of the notes that I took. And I need you to catch a vibe if it's there. And make sure you watch the video too, so that it'll flow a little bit better than maybe what I'm saying. My goal, like I said, is to give the information. So one of the signs is going to be that people are claiming to come in Jesus' name and to be deceiving, right? Now we've heard about those things maybe in the 70s, 60s. Maybe we've never heard about those things, but it's been going on for a long time when people are claiming to be Christ and they are claiming that I know the way, I know when he's coming back. We need to be ready on this date and at this time, or on this date, or because there's something coming up that's changing, people like to perverse it and make it into something that it's not. So let's take Y2K, for example. And the whole thing was that the world was going to shut down in the year 2000, right? But it didn't. And that was my first personal experience with, people saying that, this is the end of the world, Jesus is coming, all those kind of things that were going on. My grandmother, Vivian, said that was the stupidest thing she ever heard. She's a God-fearing woman, and she said, that's dumb, because he never said when. And even if he did come back then, how would they have known if he never said when, right? So, number two, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars. Well, we've seen that before. We've had one, two, maybe on a verge of the Third World War, not to include all the civil wars and all the other battles, right? So we've known about those things, right? They have been going on. And it's talking about nations going to war against nations, and kingdoms against kingdoms. Again, we've been hearing about that. Maybe this is the first time we're actually seeing it in real time with the whole Russian-Ukraine thing. But those things have been going on too. There's going to be famines and earthquakes. We've heard about famines, and we've seen and felt and been in some of those earthquakes, in real time of today, right? But he says those things are as the birth pains, right? So, that is not time yet. So the birth pains are, if you're unfamiliar, when it could be Braxton Hicks, it could be the real thing, but it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel something going on. This baby has been in there for quite a while, and it's almost about time. So that would be right on time if they started coming now, right? He also references that we've been living in the last days for about 2,000 years. So, birth pains, the beginning of something new getting ready to take place, right? Or maybe it's your second or third child. It's the beginning of a new birth to begin. Okay? So that's how we're looking at those things previously said, right? Now, and also a few more, because number 4, he said, and again, this is coming right out of the Bible that I've read many times, but for some reason, I wanted to get a fair clarity on it. And, I have to do research in everything that I do. So, being arrested, persecuted, hated all over the world because we are Christ's followers, right? And we know that has been going on for quite some time too. Again, many false prophets will appear. We know there are people that are claiming, I think it was back in the 70s or something or other. I don't know all the names, but I know it's been going on. I've heard rumors. And the reason I call it a rumor is because I wasn't there to experience it or to see it for myself. So any information around that is like hearsay. And I'm like, okay, I will take that into consideration that that's been going on. And then you see the videos, or you might hear of someone who actually lived through that era and maybe were even, what's the word? Kind of like drafted into that issue or into that ministry, and then turned out to be false. Maybe someone. I individually do not know anyone. Now you could talk about other religions that people were drafted into or have become accustomed to and aware of and wanted to go that way. That would be kind of the same experience. And in that, yes, I have had experience with that personally. But they are the ones that I've had experience, and I guess they all are talking about God. I don't know what goes on in the meetings there, but to each his own. We're all going to know, at some point, if what we chose was right and what we chose was wrong. So it says that sin will be rampant everywhere. We're seeing that. We've been seeing that. This is like extremely the worst time I've seen it. And it says love will grow cold. So meaning it's almost a non-factor, or it's taken out of consideration when people are making their plans and they are making their decisions. They're leaving love out of it. So then sometimes there's very harsh decisions made. You know what I mean? And maybe let's say if we were given an example in the court of law and love is not considered, it's just factual. Maybe in your relationships, love is not considered, it's just a proposition, you know, or we're going to marry for this and this because we want this to be the goal. And it's not really a love thing. And we take love off the table because maybe we weren't loved, or we didn't get enough, or no one showed it to us. Good news will be preached throughout the whole world. And we know that that is a possibility to be done and has been done um, with all of the TV stations, with all of the radio, with all of the missionaries going out into remote parts of the world to take care of that and to get that message out there. Sacrilegious object that causes desecration will be standing in the holy place. So I had to research, what is that really? What is a sacrilegious object? And it's something that contradicts and goes against something that is meant to be holy. And it wants to be praised, right? And again, watch the video, and then I had to do a little bit more research outside of the video in order to get a complete understanding. So there's that. It also says, number 11, that those in Judea must flee to the hills. I don't know if that's happened yet. I don't know if we're going to hear something on the news about that, about something going down in Judea, and then all the people had to A, B, and C. Number 12, there will be greater anguish than in any time since the world began. Now, anguish, that is a pretty intense word. And when I think of anguish, I think of what is going on with the, and then let me make it clear, this is just one point. I just want to make it plain. The anguish of the LGBTQ community. And there is an anguish going on in regards to, in particular, that I am just now researching and learning about. Because that's not my lane. But if I'm going to be relatable to people, I have to at least understand what's going on, right? So in doing a deep dive into the transgender portion of that and the anguish from them wanting to become who they feel that they are is the narrative that we're giving or given, that we are given. And when it breaks down, in reality, that's not always the case. Sometimes they are, I want to say, like, inhumanely persuaded into pursuing something that not only hurts them mentally, but it hurts them physically. And my mind was just blown, right? So there's this thing, and again, I'm freshly introduced to this. I have not done all my research yet. But the heartache I felt when I was listening to an interview was that for their reconstructive surgery, to have the full package, if we could say, of being whatever gender they would like to be, or they are acknowledging as their truth, they were lied to. I heard one even classify it as an experiment. They needed a way to experiment, and they chose to do it on the people, right? So when they go through, like anything, a surgery is always an intense thing, and we want the best results, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it costs us our life, right? Um, and in that situation, when they are dealing with their reproductive organs, if I can say it that way, there's an issue there. And for a lot of them who may or may not want to admit it, which I get it both ways, like I understand, they are going through this surgery, this life altering surgery, only to find out that it doesn't work and there's no going back to how they used to be. Can you imagine that? If you are not a part of that community, can you imagine that? Being persuaded into thinking, okay, this is not who I am. I feel like something else. And I want to go through with it full force because, I don't do stuff halfway. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, right? And coming to the conclusion that, okay, I'm going to do this. And being persuaded so tough to go through with the procedure. And then when you ask questions and you say, I want to do this, no one is there to say, hey, this might not be the best move. And let me tell you why. And, going through all the facts with you, going through every single detail of what you need to know and what you need to understand about this procedure, but giving you topical reasons instead, juicing up your ears, if you will, but them knowing exactly what they are doing, what the outcome has been, how many times they've performed the surgery, and how many times it was unsuccessful, but never telling you that. Anguish. And then once you go through with the surgery, no one tried to stop you. No one tried to give you an alternate route to take or to say, just take some more time. You're only 19. You're only 25. Take just a little bit more time. Look at and understand everything that I've told you, and then make your choice. Why do they do that? Because who doesn't want to be the first one to get this thing figured out, right? From a doctor's standpoint. Who would love to have that honor of saying, I did it? But as we know in all things, there's trial and there's error that has to happen first before we get to that successful solution. But in this case, some of those doctors, some of those people of authority, some of those guardians had a different interest in mind, and it wasn't for the well-being of that person. Can you imagine? I've gone through with this surgery, and I lived through it, and now I can never enjoy again. I can never enjoy that type of intimacy again because it doesn't work. And I won't go into details on how or, the functionality of things, but that is complete anguish. Going through that, figuring out I was just a test subject and not being able to reverse it and go back to how things were. How dare they do that to people? But again, the Bible does state that their love will grow cold. So then that person who just knew or thought that this was the best route to take has to live with that decision for the rest of their life. How when they go to sleep and they wake up thinking, oh my gosh, I just had the most terrible dream, only to find out that that is now their reality. Psychologically, how do you hang on? There will be greater anguish than in any time since the world began. And I think that that is one of the biggest, most relevant examples of anguish that I could think of right now. And that is something that the world has never known. That is so heartbreaking because we are spiritual beings first. That means we're encompassed in all duality. We have our light side, we have our dark side. Have a feminine side and a masculine side, each of us. And when there is no balance, there are extremes. So I would say, find balance. Have an understanding of yourself as is first. And then whichever side you deem necessary to take dominance, that's okay. And you can do that just as you are. There doesn't need to be any alterations to how you came out of the womb. It's a mental thing. I am very feminine, but at times I am extremely masculine. Masculine in my way of thinking, in my logic, and in how I handle myself in different situations. I am both those things at the core of my being. My projected self is mostly feminine, but let's say if it's a business situation and my perspective has to change in order to get my desired outcome, and I have to be a little more aggressive in order to figure things out, that's my masculine side. If I'm in a situation where I feel that I am being threatened physically, maybe I'm being followed, or maybe someone is looking as if they're going to hurt me, it would be appropriate for me to set that feminine side to the side and have my masculine side step out front and center, because I wish you would. You see what I'm saying? We are already both when we need to be. It shows up. Altering oneself physically does not prove anything. You don't really have to do it. And you could still be exactly who you want to be. Why? Because we already have both. And you don't have to have what I have to be considered to have a feminine makeup. Right? If I wanted to, I don't have to have what a man has to bring out my more masculine side. I already have them both, and they are necessary as they are necessary, right? And so, taking it even a little further into the root of things, I was presented as one to go through with the procedure of bringing a life into the world. I am a woman. The man, on the other hand, has been given the responsibility to give me life to bring into this world. I can't bring it into the world by myself, is what I'm saying. It takes part A and part B. That's it, y'all. And no matter what we do externally to that vessel, that would either be the one going through the procedure of bringing life into the world, or going through the procedure of giving life to be had. Other than that, other than those assignments, we have both properties of feminine or masculine. But there is a certain, I don't even know if I'm using the right word, but there is a certain anatomically correct type of vessel that does one or it does the other. That does not have to be changed. But what you do externally, what you choose to do, who you choose to partner up with, is your choice, because you have free will. But and those assignments come from God, you know what I mean? Well, they used to. And I guess even now I could say that, but with the way that people can alter things in the womb or before the womb, I don't know how all that works, but naturally, we are given one assignment or another, and everything else is our choice. I had to get stuck right there for a minute because that is a great big deal. And we are just glossing over that fact about how much people are hurting, right? When all they wanted to do was fit in, but they already fit in. That hurts my heart for them that they were unaware. maybe, or they felt that they had to do that in order to be, when you were already beautiful just as you were. And you're still beautiful just as you are. But I can see how it would be very detrimental to one's mental well-being when that happens. I'm an empath, and when I hear certain things, I can step in those shoes and I can understand the frustrations that arise from that. I can understand the anger that arises from that. I can understand the hate that arises from that. I can understand the depression that arises from that, and it's too much. Please know, if no one else has ever told you this, you are who you are for a reason, be it physically male, physically female, under anatomy reasons. You don't have to change anything about yourself to be yourself. That power is already within you. You were fully equipped from the day that you were born with everything that you would need. But we have to get a grip on our mental. We have to. It says, in all thy getting, get an understanding. That's the word of God. So now that we're here, we've gone down this road, and you say, Jay, but I've done that. I've altered myself in a fashion that is not reconcilable. There is no fix. There is no going back. There is no way to correct this. I lost my ability to have the anatomy and the functionality of either maybe you were the life giver, or maybe you were the one that goes through the procedure of birthing that life. What now? What do I do? How do I live? How do I can never A, B, or C, whatever that might be for you, right? I'm going to put it to you like this. Maybe you have taken away your anatomic properties, right? Maybe you have gone through those surgeries and what's done is done. Might I suggest that you see, even though it's going to be a little bit difficult, it's going to be a little bit hard, might I suggest that you see that you are not just your genitalia. You are a whole being, and you can still choose what you focus on. Should I say it again for the people in the back? You are not just your genitalia, and you can still choose what you focus on. You are that powerful. Love is not held in your genitalia, right? And last I checked, if you are under the sound of my voice, your heart is still intact. Coming to the realization of something is never easy when it's adverse. There may, or as we know of today, there is no reversible procedure. And you can choose to make that your life's focus, or you can choose to do what you were created to do and understand who you are and realize there is more to you than just your genitalia. Find pleasure in things that are longer lasting, if we could be honest. Find pleasure in things that truly make your soul rejoice. And I could say that from experience, as sometimes I went long periods of time without using it. It's not all there is to life. And when I say long periods of time, I mean long periods of time. Get back into relationship with yourself. Figure out your likes and dislikes. I have a great vision board class. If you go to futuresclub101.com, get back to who you are. Understand how powerful you are. Change your mindset, because if you change your mind, you change your life. And I know it's very easy to become obsessive over something, especially when it affects you physically. But look at the gentleman who has no arms and no legs. I can't remember his name, but he is one of the most bestest. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's all that came to mind. Motivational speakers. And it goes to show that you are not, your physicality should not overpower your mental, your mind, how you think about you. I would also suggest you start doing that mirror work that I spoke about before. Go back a few videos and you start falling in love with you all over again. I don't care how old you are. It's never too late to fall in love with yourself. And yourself is waiting to hear you say to yourself, I love you. I love you. And I don't know if I heard somebody say this, or one of the questions that might arise or the statements is that, but I don't love me. I don't like what I've done. And this is someone who can and is able to be open with themselves and be truthful with themselves. I don't love how this turned out. I didn't say to love how this turned out. I didn't say to love the decision that you made. I said, love the you that is you and not just your physical you. Can you go in that deep? Can you look at yourself that deep? Can you take a moment in time and set it aside for yourself to get back to falling in love with you? It's a challenge. You might cry in the beginning. I cried in the beginning. But then there comes a time when you're looking at that mirror and you are loving you. And I don't mean topically. I mean your integrity, who you are as a person. If you were to strip away all the physical, the core of you, I know it's not easy. It's okay. If it's not easy, some things are difficult. But once you overcome that, whatever seems so difficult in your life, and I'm talking to all now, no matter what that most difficult thing is in your life, once you overcome it, everything else will be cake. Whatever you think is the most difficult or most difficulties, so why not go through it and get to that other side? There's no harm in that. We all go through something. We just might not be speaking about it out loud. All of us, including myself. So don't ever think I'm the only one that's going through something. No, you're not. I can guarantee it. But there's more to you than just your physical makeup. And that is one of the main reasons why I'm here. To show you you don't have to give up your turn. Because there is nothing, no situation on this earth that can break you. The only thing that can break you is you. One of the sayings, or even in my book, I tell them when they do their mirror work to look in it. And if there's an obstacle, if there's an adverse situation going on, you look and you tell yourself, this is not what it takes to break me. And that is the honest truth. The only thing that can break you is you. I don't know why I needed to go on that tangent for as long as I did, but I believe it was necessary, as that is my job here, is to state a perspective that you may not have considered. So moving on again, in number 13, he was talking about false messiahs and prophets will rise up and cause great signs and wonders and deceive. I've had a few people try to deceive me in stating that, oh, what you're believing is not what you're believing, because it's wrong. And guess what, you guys? It almost got me. That deceit is very slick. very close to the truth, but it isn't the truth. So now with the notes that I've taken, I started just doing kind of quotes and kind of writing down things that I thought would be of some benefit to share. And also just rooted in that Matthew verse from 3 to 36, I believe. And it says, "Don't be deceived. As light flashes in the east and shines to the west, so it will be when the Son of Man comes. Everyone will see it." It's kind of like when you see a gathering of vultures, that shows that a carcass is nearby. So these signs indicate that the end is near. And it says, immediately after the anguish of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will give no light, the stars will fall from the sky, the powers in the heaven will be shaken. Then a sign, the Son of Man is coming, will appear in the heavens. There will be a deep mourning among all the peoples on earth. And I'll go into more clarity of this phrase right here in just a minute. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He will send out his angels with a mighty blast of a trumpet, and they will gather his chosen ones from all over the world. From the farthest ends of the earth and heaven. So you say, Jay, I've done this to my body. How can I still be considered a child of God? How can I still have a go at this with him and be taken with everybody else when he comes back? How do I know if he still loves me? Because why would he love me and I look like this? It's simple. Man, me, we, you and I look at the external of a person. But God, he judges the heart. He looks at the heart. He loves you because of your heart. See, it's never what we think it is that matters, but our society, our surroundings, our quote unquote keeping up with the Joneses methods. We think those are the important things, when in fact they are not. And he understands if you are sad about something, but he doesn't want you to stay sad about anything. He gave you life. Because don't get it twisted, he knows the end from the beginning. He knows. He knew what was going to happen. He knows what will happen. And he knows what is happening right now. You are not your organs. It's a part of your makeup. But the you, the real you, the true you, has nothing to do with your physical appearance. It's your mind. And it goes on saying, this generation will not pass from the scene until all these things take place. No one knows the day or the hour. Only the Father knows. So if you see him saying, well, at 2:00 p.m., at 777, on 777, or whatever, of course, that's not truth. But if you are deceived by that, come on. That's why we have to understand. He said, in all you're getting, get an understanding. You want to know what he's about? Call his name and let him show you. Ask the question. He will answer. The danger is the deception. Do you really think all of those people in all of the churches all read their Bible and know exactly what it says? No, they don't. They go off the word of someone else, of their peer, of whoever's supposed to be their leader, instead of getting an understanding for yourself. Now, we each will be judged for the understanding that we obtained. And we can't blame it on nobody but ourselves when it was right there in our face to at least look at it and get an understanding of. And then when we didn't know, we needed further research and we couldn't find it, we asked the question, Lord, I'm trying to understand this. Show me what I need to see. Simple as that. Because let me tell you, everyone who says that they are there for your benefit are not there for your benefit. Sometimes it's for their own, especially in the system that we live in today, the economy that we live in today. Don't be deceived. God is not mocked. And again, these are the birth pains showing something new is about to be born. And yes, I'm just going straight from my notes. And it says, do not be alarmed or dismayed. We, as followers of Christ, should not be worried as the world is worried about these things. We are very different. We have sympathy for those that are suffering, and we express that in help. In our hearts, we are not alarmed. We are hopeful. We are looking for that new birth of a new world. And therefore, we are not dismayed or depressed by all the problems. Jesus' advice is to keep going. Now, when you watch that video, you're going to see them talking about, the deceit of the believers and those kinds of things. But there's also that the church will be reduced in size for more purity. And the smaller groups will make the greater impact. Because now we're not being deceived by someone who might be in it for monetary gains. Now we've taken it upon ourselves to actually be the church as we are the church and go forth and produce good fruit. I am a church of one. This is a journey of one. And in my journey, it is to help and encourage as many as I can, to show you that you have wings and teach you how to fly, and then be able to watch you soar. That is my job. That is my reward that I am grateful to take. If I sit here and say I don't get excited when that aha moment hits, I would be lying to myself. That is one of the most greatest moments I have as a person. When someone says, oh, I get it now. I get it now. A lot of the times it's followed by tears. And by, I wish I would have known earlier, and I wouldn't have blah, 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 and all those things. But then I bring them back to, at least you know now. And most of the time they nod, And it's can be a hard thing to swallow. But the excitement of understanding highly outweighs the other things. And whoever perseveres to the end will be saved. To the end of your journey. Some of us are not ending our journey at our own hands. Some of us have a journey's end due to sickness or something that we can't control. And again, I reiterate, there's no reason to leave early. The day we were born, our ticket was stamped that we will indeed end our journey one day. And if not by the way of the grave, it'll be by flight. I'm going to move around a second so I can reiterate on that point for just a second, and then I'll go back. But it goes back to when it talks about when all these things happen, all natural light will be switched off, meaning the moon will go dark, the sun will go dark, the stars will fall from the sky, leaving only artificial light to illuminate the earth. That is what they mean when it says the powers of the heaven will be shaken. God turns off the light from heaven to prepare for the blaze of light from the lightning that will mark his return. Then he comes on the clouds back to the planet Earth, and we will meet him. We're not meeting him in a stadium because there isn't one large enough, right? We will reach him in the air. That's what all the talk about is about when they say, we'll meet him in the sky. And that event will come suddenly, almost like a thief in the night. And I know some may have heard that phrase. I, for one, am looking forward to it. I want all the benefits that come with that. And my heart has a desire to go home. But I know that there's a fight that still is going on here that I need to be on the right side of in helping you understand how powerful you are and how any and everything can be under your control with the right mindset. And you need to understand who you are to have that mindset be right. You need to understand that your voice is the loudest voice, that you are the most powerful in any situation you find yourself in. Build that confidence, building that courage. We are not of this world, but we are in this world. The world does not belong to us. Our citizenship is in the heavenly realms. If we were of this world, they would embrace us and love us as their own, right? But that's not what happens. That's because we're unique, special. Let's get back to this one thing really quickly, and then we'll close out, and I'll give all the updates about what's going on. John 15:19 says, oh, I'm sorry, I was ahead of myself. If you were of the world would love you as their own. Because you are not of the world, you are not of the world. But I have chosen you out of the world. There's a character in Daniel's, in the book of Daniel, who was referred to as the abomination of desolation. He is going to establish himself in the very city of God, Jerusalem, call himself God, and refuse to accept anyone else's will above his own. A tyrant whose arrival will have global ramifications, which will be centered in Jerusalem. Pay attention to what happens in Jerusalem. Pay attention to what happens in Judea. Pay attention to what happens in the sky. those are really the last signs left that haven't happened yet. But all of this is relevant to show the pattern that it's happening and how we're supposed to respond to that. Don't let your love go cold. Don't be deceived. Keep your mind intact, no matter what adversity you may face. And this world be whirled, and none of us are exempt. Don't ever think you're the only one going through something, because you are not. There is a group, there is a tribe, there is a something that can help. That can show you, yeah, we're all trying to figure it out for this particular situation. And if you haven't found your tribe, you haven't found your group, please join me. Join me where we get your mind right, where you decide how this goes in your life, your roadmap, what you would like, what you don't like, and how you get from point A to point B, and then how to maintain that. There's so many things that can come in and deceive you and be like, yeah, but we show you how to do it for yourself so that you know that you know. My program is called the Futures Club. You can go to futuresclub101.com and see everything you need to see. You can message me right there if there's any questions. You can sign up for the prerequisite course and get that going. Join us. No, really, join us. This program is for anyone 14 years or older. And when I say older, I mean if you have a nursing home and the people are unmotivated, or they just kind of need to be in something inspiring. Because guess what? They are still here with us. They are not forgotten either. Not by me, not by the Most High. God Himself knows exactly where they are. And if this would benefit, I will gladly come and do an in-person teaching of my program. This is my life's work, and I am proud to do it. I find it an honor to be able to assist. There's no ego here, because I already know that your voice is the most powerful voice in the room, and it needs to be elevated for you to know that as well. No more being taken advantage of. No more dumbing it down to try to fit in. Being the powerful you that you are to create the reality that you desire. And all are welcome. If you are under the sound of my voice, if anyone brings this to your attention, you are welcome. Your voice is very important, and it was put on this earth for a reason. Let's find out why. So I will be starting my live online course. The next one that'll begin is going to be September 29th. We take off for the holidays if it happens to fall on a Sunday or the weekend of, because I understand. And we are going to get through that course and get through it together. And at the end of it, there is going to be a great reward. I don't want to say what that is, because I want you to come, because, hey, You're thinking, I want you, or excuse me, I want you to think, hey, I'm investing in myself. I'm worth it to invest in myself. And that's why I'm showing up. Not looking for what is the reward going to be? Because that's not really going to help you. Getting through this course just to get through the course is not what's beneficial. It's the journey that's beneficial. So if you have any questions, you can let me know. Also, this season is coming to a close. So what is it? This is the last podcast of the season. And because I usually normally I take my breaks in October through the new year, right? When I'm working for myself and in my business stuff. Because at that point I was only teaching acting. But I still like to have a month or two to just regroup and making sure that I'm giving you things that are worth your time. And yes, I do have a couple of businesses that I run. You can see those on my, what is it called? Linktree, I think. And you can just go look in there. Some of my friends' companies are on there as well, that you can go ahead and just look around and see. My Linktree should be somewhere on the something in that one place. You guys know I'm horrible about exact locations though. But you can find me, I'm sure. You can find my Linktree. I don't know why I feel so exhausted. Like all of a sudden, I just feel like I need to rest. I like that. And I hope that you understood what I was trying to say and that you understand how important you are is the point of all that I was saying. There are a lot of what would you support groups for the LGBT community, and I don't know if I have any resources on my page for that, but I would love to have that. So the resources page on my website at futuresclub.com is for things that can help with addictions, things that can help with like preventative services or those kind of things. And I put those up for free when they meet the requirements. And one of the things is that it can't be to one particular location. You have to be able to reach people from anywhere, in the US. Maybe you have a phone a system that you can use, or webinars, or things where you have meetings online where everybody can reach. You know what I mean? You may have additional services for those that are local. Excuse me, but I want to make sure that if someone in, I don't know, where was the last one? I think it was Germany. When I look at my updates and the things that, people that come to my website and all those things, and I think the last one was Germany. I want someone in Germany to be able to use that resources page if they need it, even though we're in the United States. You see what I'm saying? Or even if it's for the whole United States, that would be a go. But if you're only for Raleigh, North Carolina, or South Carolina, or just for a niche local group, then I can't put you up there. But I can, if you would like, you can go to the advertising page and do a paid advertisement, which it'll stay up for a year. You get 3 ad changes during your fiscal year, not from January to December. If you come in at like November, it'll go to the next November. Or anyone else who would like to place an ad on there. And it's only $100, just because of the work that it takes in the background to keep up with all that. And that's it. And the ad changes are free. So if you would like to place an ad, you can do so. And there's a whole page on there. And send it to wherever the contact information is on there, and we can get you up there. Follow the instructions, and yeah, we can get you going. I appreciate the ones that are listening to this and are taking my information into consideration. And I pray that if I say things wrong or if they're incorrect, but the context is what it should be, that you would give me grace. I am learning new things. And again, about the LGBT community, completely new, where I really am digging in deep to understand. Because I don't want you to feel like you're alone, because you're not. You're just as worthy to be loved like the rest of us, as the rest of us, because you are us. Yeah, like, you're still human. You still have a heart. You still have your mind. So as I go into my nap, because I am drained, y'all. We will be starting. Make sure you can start and finish your prerequisite, which is the vision board class, so that we can all be coming in on the same vibe. Because there's so many things and it's so important. And then with the program, how it is, I would love that to be already done so that we can just start moving forward. If you have any questions, let me know. Locally in the Indianapolis area and surrounding cities and almost all of Indiana, really, if you would like a program to be done in your city physically, give me a minute. But you can tell anyone you want to tell about this and they can join us online. I don't want to set the seat limits yet, but this is a closed seating event, meaning once we start, there can be no one else new that joins. You'll have to wait for the next opportunity. And if it gets to be too many where I think I'm not going to be giving individualized attention, then I would definitely make and break down to a double course. And then just, we will do that. Because I don't want to turn anyone away that needs and wants to be involved. But once we have started, there will be a wait list until the next begins. So yes, please share this message. I will be doing my part to share the message as well. And this is the best exhaustion I have felt, is when I've given all of what I can give at that moment. That makes me proud of myself. That gives me the motivation to do it again. But I hope that you heard that I was speaking from my heart and not my head, because we all matter. We all are worthy to be loved, and we don't need to give up our turn. We make some good decisions, we make some bad decisions, but we need to be fearless and continue till the end. There's no need to go early because we already all have our ticket. So until next time, deuces. As always, thank you for joining us again for another episode. We hope you enjoyed yourself, but the best way to know is if you leave a comment or you send me a message and you actually let me know. If you have any questions, I would love to be able to answer those on the next episode, so go ahead and leave me that as well. But until next time, just know you are worth it to be wherever you want to be.